welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick, with the City of Hampton's Communications and Marketing Department. And today we're going to talk to some young poets and learn about a program that Hampton has at the West Hampton Community Center. My guests today are Dreason Ruckett, who was the host of that program, and one of the recent winners, Dayvondria Braxton. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having us.
It's great to have you guys here, and I'm excited that as part of the contest that you guys held, being on TV was actually one of the prizes. So
right.
This is exciting for the audience, and I hope it's just as exciting for you. So let me start. Dreason, you do this as a volunteer,
yes.
And you work with young poets. Why?
Well, I was young at one time.
Okay, you're still young compared to me.
Well, yes,
you're not quite in your 20s anymore.
Right. But I started off writing when I was 12 years old, and it was through encouragement from an English teacher. We had a poetry contest, and one of my very close female friends won. She beat me, and I was like, how did you beat me? You wrote about colors. I wrote about love. And it sparked my desire to write ever since, and I've always just had a great relationship with the younger audience, and it just felt the right thing to do to continue to improve myself as well as to help others.
So this for you is giving back, but it also is a way of continuing your own writing and poetry. Because I started out writing poetry, and for the literary magazine and in high school and college, but if you don't keep it up, you really lose those skills.
That's correct.
So Day, what got you involved? Let's introduce you first. You're a freshman at Kecoughtan.
Yes, ma'am. I actually started writing because of my English teacher when I was in the 3rd grade, and it was just an assignment to do. And then my parents actually separated, and that was like my gateway. That's where I got away and explained like how I felt, and it took away a lot of the pain from all that.
So I think that's true for a lot of people, is that either you don't have someone to talk to, or I know I work through my own feelings on paper sometimes, and it gets it out, but then you go back later maybe and make sense of it, or you don't. So is it like journaling for you, sort of?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's like my own therapist in a book, in a pencil.
That's wonderful.
I agree.
Now, okay, when I was a kid, writing poetry was really a solitary thing. I mean, it was not a performance. You wrote, and it was in a book maybe, and other people read it. But it's really changed now.
Yes.
Tell me what it's like here.
Well, the dynamic of the spoken word is what is called the performance poetry has changed over the last 20 years, actually. It's been going on since the 70s with Gil Scott Heron. And so we have taken on that style in the newer generation to bring more dramatics to it, with music or through theatrical performance. Poetry on paper is the same as spoken word. The only difference is one you're reading from a paper, the other you have committed to memory. So. And
really, I think it gets back to the roots of poetry. It's when people couldn't always read, and it was a performance. It was live. It was the sound of the words.
Right.
So, Dreason, tell us a little bit about your work with what kind of poetry you write, or what kind of writing you do.
Oh, well, I'm actually a self-publishing author. So I do many forms of writing outside of poetry, but again, poetry was my stepping stone. And from there, I went into, the different styles of writing, haikus and everything like that. But I really mostly write from my soul, whatever I'm feeling at the time. Just like Day said, it's my daily journal. The things that I feel in life that are unable to be shared with others, I share it with my notebook. And
that's an important thing.
Yes.
And Day, when you first started writing, were you in middle school at that time then?
I was in elementary school.
Elementary school.
Yes.
Middle school especially, I think, is just this really tough transition for a lot of people. Like, you may not feel like you fit in or have really found your niche. How does writing help you with that?
Well, actually, when I was in elementary school, I was the shyest person. I was so shy. I could not perform in front of you. I couldn't do anything. And then
that's so hard to believe now. You're very poised for a
Yes.
freshman. I thought you were like a junior or senior.
Thank you. But actually, after I got out of elementary school, I went to middle school, and I only knew poetry by writing it down. I hadn't learned to pursue like saying it to people. So I actually met my basketball coach, Miss Vinny, goes by Tutu, and she actually showed me how to say it. And I actually learned that was more therapeutic than writing it down on a piece of paper. And then that made me more confident in myself and being able to talk to people.
Now, why is that more therapeutic? Explain how it feels when you say it out loud.
Because like when you're writing it, if I write down a piece of his work, I will read it a different way than he reads it. But when I'm performing it and I'm saying it, I'm feeling the words. I'm feeling what I'm saying. So when I say it, I'm getting out all my feelings, all my emotions, and it just feels way better than just writing it down.
So the performance gives you an extra dimension.
Yes.
You know, it's not just the black and white of the words. You get to carry it with your voice and your movements.
Yes.
Okay. And that's a scary thing. There are a lot of adults who can't get up and speak or perform in front of people. Mm-hmm. And you learned it at a young age.
Yes.
And how's it helped you?
Oh man, it has helped me so much. Through like, I remember days where I thought I wasn't gonna make it. I thought I was gonna give up, and put my pencil to the paper and just wrote and wrote and wrote till I couldn't write no more. And it really helped me get strong as a person.
That's amazing. Now,
Yes.
I know you're young and you don't have to know what you want to do, but are you thinking ahead to college or career at this point?
Oh yes. I actually, once I graduate, I want to go into medical school, and I want to become an anesthesiologist.
Okay.
Great.
So writing, not so much a part of the career choice, but still important to you.
Oh yes.
How is it compared to, I know you also play basketball,
Yes.
and there's all these things that affect a person's life. It isn't just their career or their major, it's all the well-roundedness. So how do you fit in the basketball world? How do you fit in poetry? How do those make up who you are?
Well, I can say, a well-rounded person, and actually basketball is very stressful because I play it all the time. I love basketball. Basketball is darn near my life.
Really? Okay.
Yes. And those times that I'm with, like when I'm doing other things other than basketball, poetry is the only thing I do other than that. And that's just, those are my two main things. It's my life. I love both of them. Yes.
And school?
School, yeah, it's hard, but I'm getting through it.
So basketball and poetry help you get through.
Yes, those are my stress relievers. Yes.
Well, everybody
Awesome.
needs stress relief.
Yes, awesome.
So what is it like, okay, you are working with the Young Poets group, or did you just come to the Poetry Slam and you don't go to the regular sessions?
Because of basketball, I can't go to the sessions. But I do try and participate as much as possible with the poetry slams and the things they ask me to come to, and open mics and stuff.
Okay, so Dreason, explain what a poetry slam is, because that's a term not all of our audience will be familiar with.
Well, the traditional poetry slam consists of contestants, poetry contestants that come on and they compete in several rounds of competitive poetry. They get judged, and whoever has the highest ranking scores will go into the final round, and they compete again. And
This is brutal. This is like worse than basketball.
you know, that is probably one of the only programs that we do have where that kind of activity goes on. We normally are a family-oriented environment, and it's non-competitive, you know, because we would rather you build your self-esteem and confidence up.
Right, so there are open mic nights where
Right.
everybody can perform and you're not judged.
That's correct.
You're just expressing yourself.
That's correct.
But the slam is for serious.
Well, yeah, the slam is to let you know where you are. And Day Day, as she said, she won at last year's Poetry Slam and came back
As
and
an
won
eighth
again.
grader?
Yes.
Wow.
That's
amazing. Because this, I mean, Young Poets Group is, who's your youngest?
I
Probably-
think you are.
No, there's 13, right?
It's a pretty big age range. So
Yeah.
you've got 13 to 23 or
Yes.
maybe even a little bit older than that.
Yes.
And actually, her basketball coach, Miss Vinny, also works with us
Yes.
at
Well,
the West Hampton
how did
Community
those
Center.
two end up together? That's interesting.
Well, she actually introduced me to the poetry slam, and I guess after the poetry slam was when the group became a group, and she just stuck with it after that. But she has been like on it. She brought me
She's
to poetry.
awesome.
Yes.
That is wonderful. Okay, so tell us just this group meets at West Hampton Community Center.
That's correct.
On Garfield Road. And how often you're open to people?
Every second Friday at 6:30 we meet at West Hampton Community Center. It's free and it's open to the public for the young and young at heart. And as I said, it's just an intimate environment where we share poetry, we discuss our difficulties and plights with the art form, and also encourage each other so that we could be able to stand up like Day Day and, read off our poetry in front of people we don't know.
So if there's some kids listening or parents of kids listening who are encouraging them, you don't have to read the first time, right? Like if I don't have Day Day's confidence and I showed up, I could sit in the back and listen.
Most definitely.
If that was, something more suited to me. Or if I was ready, you could perform.
I mean, I always say it's a good idea to go and scope out an environment first. The first time you go, just sit back and listen to see what kind of atmosphere it is, see if you even want to perform there or not. The next time you come, you're a little familiar with it, and then you go in and do what you have to.
All right, so there's Young Poets, and that's the second Friday.
Yes.
And the Poetry Slam is an annual event,
Yes.
or twice? Okay.
Yes, annual, and our open mic is at West Hampton Community Center every third Thursday at 7. Yes.
Okay. And we're going to have Day Day, who's going to perform her work. I don't know if it's the same work that won or if it's a different one.
It's the same one.
Okay.
Yes.
So this will be the first place winner from the Poetry Slam. And then we're going to have a couple of the other winners or regular participants come on and introduce themselves and perform their works as well. Is there anything we want to say before we get to the performances? Have I forgotten to ask you anything?
Just come out to West Hampton Community Center. We have tons of free events and activities for the community, and we're doing it so that we will provide an empowering place for young people and young at heart to come out.
That's right. So, you don't have to be young to participate in open mic night and some of these other programs. Right. And this also, by performing these on TV, we'll bring it into people's homes and maybe give them a comfort level that says, hey, I could do that. Or, hey, I want to go hear that in person.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to come again.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay, so we're going to take a break and we're going to come back with Day Day and some of the other performers from the Poetry Slam. I hope you enjoy their performance. Thank you.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life. I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Malignant deceptions. I gotta keep my head up so I won't fall down. Sometimes I wanna give up and put my feet back on the ground. I'm fighting in this world, oh, and I'm fighting, oh, we fighting, oh. Come, please, life is great here. He feeds my mind with malignant deceptions as if my mind's a vault. He makes my eyes see that beauty is only booty and the ones with brains are only insane and can't hold a man without a rack. He feeds my mind with self-hate like the simple fact that I can't go on a date without you groping my backside with the ignorant thoughts of my body uncovered. So you twist up my heart with the words like I love her, and you make me think if I have long hair or light skin, tailbone out, and if I hold my insecurities in that I feel beautiful. So I swallow my self-pity till I drown myself alive with the false advertisements and the fake bodies we advertise. I am a victim of trying to fit the criteria of his abominable apprehension. So I never look in the mirror because I'm afraid of the pain. And it's hard to love myself because I don't want to seem vain, so I look at my reflection and pretend to love the beast that I became, in hopes one day he'll love me for me. He's the one to blame. He's the reason false accusations are being shot into my veins. He is the media. I gotta keep my head up so I won't fall down. Sometimes I wanna give up and put my feet back on the ground. I'm fighting in this world, oh, and I'm fighting, oh, we're fighting, oh.
Hello, my name is Suzette S. Williams. My poetry name is actually Cashmere the Legacy. I'm a 2001 graduate of Bethel High School, and I'm also a published author. This is my featured work along with 12 other poets, Wordplay 2, The Foundation of Soul. I'm going to give you a piece called The Offering out of the book. And basically this piece is about sacrifice, humans that have become sacrifices so that we can live the life that we live. I hope you all enjoy. Promises of better tomorrows, verses full of yesterday's sorrows. My heart is bruised, so I ask yours, hey, can I borrow a cup of sugar or some baking soda? You said the wait is over, like somewhere over the rainbow without a lucky clover. A mother cries herself to sleep at night, her son a fallen soldier. He was a man that knew his purpose in life. He fought and died to protect me, you, his fam, his son, and his wife. Absolutely comfortable with my absolute. Enforce my writers in. Enlightenment pours out my pen. A blessed state in which the individual transcends desire and suffering and attains nirvana. Emancipation from ignorance and the extinction of attachment, meaning I let it go. And if you didn't know, you should have knew that. Behold the Lamb of awareness in the land of the careless, generation full of cemetery full of caskets, Walmart full of baskets on the first. Wouldn't be worse to be in these streets than ending up in a hearse. 2 days before graduation from high school, walking to the store, minding your own business. This is the same vision. Newspaper article read, yet another slain victim. Police attack, but on their badge it says protect and serve. I'm the experiment. You beat me with your deadly words. Sprinkle some ancient metaphors, some adjectives and verbs, and there's the recipe. To ever compete or be considered one half of my pedigree, Underground Railroad travels weren't physical. Spiritual travels, metamorphosis. My orifice as sources state, comparing me to Morpheus, have knowledge and understanding of self. Have knowledge, wisdom, and understand. Your destination depends on your determination and motivation.
Hello, my name is Miala Williams Diaz, and I am a former student at Booker T. Washington. I was in the poetry workshop performance at the Young Poets of Poetry movement at Hampton Community Center, and I got 4th place in My poem is called Conform, and how this poem started is just that I got frustrated with a lot of people trying to conform to everyone else. I feel like everybody was born in their own person. God made everybody to be different, so I don't feel like we should try to be someone that we're not, and this poem is called Conform. The choosing of socialites lies in the hands of society's way of branding, labeling, and stamping an expiration date on our forehead. These invisible stamps are permanently marked on our minds, sending signals to our brains. Conform. I need to conform. I cannot be my own self anymore. My body has been sold to the socialites. My personality, thoughts, and actions have been ripped out of my soul. Conform. I need to conform to the norm of this fatal attraction. Its venom is poisoning our minds, making us believe in a carbon copy Barbie and Ken, blending us into a smoothie that includes perfect skin, Photoshop body, and wind-whipped hair, then pouring us back out into the world to rapture the people, gathering them up to hear these disgusting lies. They're trying to brainwash our minds. This liquid lie that they have shot up our arm is traveling up our veins, through our necks, and down our spines. They're trying to brainwash us with this liquid lie. Bursting out of the scenes, our brain can only comprehend one thing. Conform. I need to conform.